for. Like other colleagues, I wish to voice and relay some of the concerns of many of my constituents across Ceredigion about the proposed new pylon line, which my honourable friend Father Easton Ever referred in his remarks. And I do so by wanting to emphasise that the communities raising these concerns are communities that are not blind to the effort and the urgent need to address climate change and the efforts to decarbonise our economy. Indeed, the Welsh Government's Energy Generation in Wales report 2022, which was published last October, details the equivalent percentage of local electricity consumption met by local renewable electricity generation for each county in Wales. For Ceredigion, 118% of our local electricity consumption in 2022 was met by local renewable electricity generation. So, Mrs Latham, the community is voicing concerns about the impact of new pylon infrastructure on the environment, on the potential devaluation of their properties, and not doing so from a point of ignorance or denying the urgent need to contribute to our decarbonisation efforts. Indeed, these are communities along Ceredigion coastline and interior valleys who have long made a contribution to these decarbonisation efforts. They are making a contribution to decarbonisation efforts, and indeed they shall continue to make a contribution to our decarbonisation efforts to the future. However, what's at heart here is this idea of a just transition, of balancing the concerns of communities with the need for new infrastructure. And although definitions of just transition differ, my understanding of the concept is that it should seek to bring about fairer outcomes from the transition to net zero by maximising the benefits of climate action and minimising the negative impacts for communities. We've heard already, Mrs Latham, in this debate, a failure to ensure this just transition exacerbates inequalities, affects support for action to address climate change and biodiversity loss, and leads to legal challenges, and ultimately can impact policy implementation. Now, this is a difficult balance to strike, or at least it was in the past. However, I'm very pleased to mention to the Minister that a solution has been found that can make things a lot easier. My honourable friend for Carmarthen East and Ever mentioned a new technique of cable ploughing. Because we all agree that the national grid needs upgrading, it needs strengthening, and with urgency. But it is disappointing that the government has thus far failed to truly consider the benefits and advantages of cable ploughing technique by an innovative company that is based in honourable friend's constituency in Pencader, further down the Teifi Valley from some of the communities that are impacted by this pylon line, who have been innovative in using spider ploughing machines to really advance the way in which cable ploughing techniques can install these transmission cables, and to do so by drastically reducing the cost and time taken to complete the infrastructure upgrade. Now, I know in the past the government has argued that undergrounding is too expensive, but this new technique actually shows that they can do so much quicker, to much less cost, and also reduce the impact on the local environment. And I think it's worth just emphasising the comparison between this cable ploughing technique and the erection of pylons. Now, one pylon company mentioned that it might take the best part of 4 months to install and to equip a single pylon tower. Compare that to the fact that ATP, which is the company in my honourable friend's constituency, when working on the Sea Green project, averaged 1.45 kilometres of cable installation per day, and that means opening, installing and closing it just by using one cable ploughing machine, to minimal environmental impact such that the land was returned to the owner the following day. Now, cable ploughing, Mrs Latham, could be a means of balancing the need for new electricity infrastructure with the importance of minimising not only financial costs but also unnecessary environmental impact and community opposition. Now, the UK government has repeatedly been asked to commission an up-to-date study to take into account these new techniques and the comparison of the costs with traditional pylon infrastructure. My ask to the Minister today is very simply, could he please agree to do so?